tell you something awesome. I'm sure I'm wrong, but maybe I'm right. It's a little bit Ishbitzer and a little bit like this. You know, when God wanted to give us a Torah on Mount Sinai, you remember? Like, I wouldn't say God put an ad in the New York Times, but there was an ad on the sky, right? The whole world is invited to come to Mount Sinai. And just remember, the only ones who showed up was us heathen, right? So the Heilige Baal Shem Tov says, doesn't make sense. Meaning the whole world, nobody wanted to come? Doesn't make sense, you know. So he says, the only nation who came as a nation is us Jewish people. But people from all over the world, right? All the neshamas. You know, when you meet a good person who's mamish not into killing and stealing, and it's not because he read and read his digest he shouldn't kill. Heard God's voice, you know. See, you have to realize we are living in a world full of anger. And you know, killing does not mean you take out a knife and you kill. You don't do that. But, you know, you can yell at somebody so much that you can almost kill them, right? Or you can ignore somebody. Right? You know what the Gemara says when God says don't kill? Every person heard it on the level of their own, right? A very coarse person just heard, don't take a knife. Better person heard, don't yell, right? And so on. But this is what I want to share with you. So why didn't the word come? And one day, when Mashiach is coming, suddenly Jerusalem will turn on the whole world, right? Because we say the whole world is coming to Yerushalayim. When Messiah is coming, what did not turn them on Mount Sinai? And what will turn them on from Yerushalayim? So he says like this. I'm a great scholar, right? And I have a Gemara in front of me, the Talmud I'm learning. And next to me, let's say it's a little like Eskimo, right? Never seen a Jew in his life. Never heard the word Gemara. He's sitting next to me. Imagine I'm sitting on a plane, right? Next to me, it was really one time, a little Eskimo was sitting next to me. It was the cutest in the world, right? Just, okay, so I'm sitting there, and the Eskimo thinks, you know, I don't know what he's doing. But you know something? Facts of life. It began shockling a little bit, and I began to say Tfilas Haderech, the prayer of the way, you know. So the cute little Eskimo saw me. I was praying. So he says, let's pray together. Hey. That he got, right? So the Ishbitzer says, learning, you may not turn on the whole world. Praying, if you really pray, the whole world's praying with you. If you really pray, right? I want to tell you something. How much would we have to pray that everyone in the world should reach their own roots and wipe out all the evil? You see what it is? And we haven't turned on the world yet. We haven't turned on the world yet. You know what it is? Because we haven't fixed our own roots yet. Now just give me your sweetest attention for 1 minute. This is an unbelievable story. I'm sure most of you remember it. The Heilige Rebbe, the Baal Shem Tov's grandson, says to somebody, you ever come to Kosovo, to the Heilige Reb Chaim Kosovo. So he says, yeah, I have some business in Kosovo, I'm going there all the time. He says, do me a favor, when you come back, you know, Kosovo is the grandfather of the Vishnitzer. He says, do me a favor, you go to Kosovo, bring me back a melody. Okay, he comes to Kosovo, and he wants so much to pick up a melody, but the Kosovo is not there. Every Shabbos he's there in the neighborhood, the Kosovo isn't there. One night, on an ordinary Wednesday night, the Kosovo was there, and the Heilige Kosovo is counting the Omer, and after the Heilige Kosovo counts the Omer, he's like humming a melody. It's not even much of a melody, just a little. So this Chosed obviously has good ears, picked it up and thinks it's nothing. Comes back to Rabbi Boch. He says, I'm so sorry to disappoint you, I was there, but the Heilige Kosovo was never there on Shabbos, and only I heard him counting the Omer, and after the Omer he was humming a little melody. Oh, he says, that's why I sent you, because I wanted to hear this melody from counting the Omer. So he hums a melody, not much of a melody. So that night, the Heilige Rebbe was counting the Omer. After the Omer, the Heilige Rebbe humming this melody. So then Rebbe, the Heilige Rebbe says, let me tell you the story of this melody. In the time of my holy grandfather, the holy Baal Shem, there were two neighbors. One was Jewish and one was not Jewish. So the Jew bought from the non-Jewish neighbor a field which he was right next to his, he bought it from him. After a few days he comes to him and he says, I tell you, I began digging and I found a treasure in the field. And you only sold me the field, but you didn't sell me the treasure. So I'm bringing you back the treasure. He couldn't believe. He said, I can't believe a person should be so honest. He said, I can't believe it. So that night, this little non-Jewish neighbor invited the whole village to the krechme. He says, all the drinking is on me. You know, got rich. Then he stood on the table, and he was drunk, really, and he was singing this little melody. And he was saying, great is the God of Israel. Great is the God of Israel.